We had a big we had a big document come out last week. I want to talk to you about again. It's called the electronic communication. It was the basis for the spy operation on President Trump. The Obama gang used this quote electronic communication to open up the unprecedented spy operation against President Trump, or then candidate Trump. It's written by Peter Strzok, and it showed they had no good faith basis to investigate Trump. Now, we released it last week. The major media, of course, is ignoring it because they protect Trump. They protect Obama. They protect the whole Obama-Clinton gang that spied on Trump. There was a story, though, an op-ed written in The Hill that I wanted to call your attention to because it was written by someone who used to approve this sort of activity for a living. He is a former intelligence official I just clicked past the article. He's a former intelligence official in the FBI. So he was a senior intelligence official in the FBI. The specific title is he was a former assistant director of intelligence for the FBI. And he reviewed this document. And of course, as someone who knows how this material, how these investigations begin, he has a special expertise to bring to bear here that I think is worth sharing with you. Last week, the FBI document that started the Trump-Russia collusion fiasco was publicly released. It hasn't received a lot of attention, but it should, because not too long from now, this document will likely be blown up and placed on an easel as Exhibit A in a federal courtroom. The prosecutor, U.S. Attorney John Durham, will rightly point out the document has spawned 3 years of political misery, fails to articulate a single justifiable reason for starting a Crossfire Hurricane investigation. He says it looks like it was written by someone who has no experience as an FBI agent, Peter Strzok. Keep in mind the FBI cannot investigate anyone, especially a U.S. citizen or entity, without first creating a document that lists the reasonable suspicious factors that would legally justify the investigation. And this is interesting. First, the document is oddly constructed. In a normal legitimate FBI document, or electronic communication, or EC, there would be a to and a from line. The Crossfire Hurricane EC only has a from line. It is from a part of the FBI's counterintelligence division, whose contact is listed as Peter Strzok. The EC was drafted also by Peter Strzok, and finally it was approved by Peter Strzok. Essentially, it's a document created by Peter Strzok, approved by Peter Strzok, and sent from Peter Strzok to Peter Strzok. On that basis alone, the document is an absurdity, violative of all FBI protocols, and therefore invalid on its face. An agent cannot approve his or her own case, and therefore that would be a mockery of the oversight designed to protect Americans. Yet for this document, Strzok was both the pitcher, catcher, and umpire. And then the author, whose name is, Kevin Brock, goes on to talk about the kind of third-hand nebulous reporting in this document. Strzok then concludes the document by removing the goalposts. He writes that Crossfire Hurricane is being opened to determine if unspecified individuals associated with the Trump campaign are witting or coordinating activities, also unspecified, with the government of Russia. He doesn't even mention Papadopoulos, who supposedly was the reason they started looking at this to begin with. there's a weak attempt to allege some kind of cooperation with Russians by unknown individuals affiliated with the Trump campaign, again, with no supporting facts listed. What this FBI document clearly establishes is that Crossfire Hurricane was an illicit, made-up investigation lacking a shred of justifying predication, sprung from the mind of someone who despised Donald Trump, and then blessed by inexperienced leadership at the highest levels who harbored their own well-established biases. So he hopes that it will be displayed in a federal courtroom soon. You know what my suspicions are about that. But it highlights that the founding document of the spying on President Trump is fake. It's a fraudulent document. You have a senior former FBI agent who used to prove this stuff for a living say it is. It's absurd. And it highlights how the so-called IGs really can't do their jobs even when they get out some key information. What's happening there is that because the IG said that there was a lawful predicate to open this investigation, they found no reason to think that they hadn't done anything by the book there. And you may recall that Durham and Barr, in an unusual statement, suggested that they disagreed with that. Well, you can see why they disagreed with that. This EC, this electronic communication, is garbage. I mean, frankly, anyone who approved this EC should be subject to criminal investigation. And that group of people would be limited. Strzok and his immediate supervisors all the way up the chain. McCabe, Comey, people like that. So, Judicial Watch got this out through a lawsuit. It demonstrates really a criminal conspiracy against the president, or in this case, the candidate Trump. Of course, they continued. This was what led to Flynn getting prosecuted. This is what got Flynn prosecuted. This is how it all started. I think it probably started unofficially earlier, but this is the document they all point to. Say, oh no, this is where it all began. This is as fake as the FISA warrants. This is as fake and as criminal as the FISA warrants.
Thanks for tuning in. Be sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel to catch all the latest news from Judicial Watch.